The Black Lives Matter movement started in May last year in response to the murder of George Floyd by Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. The movement has at times been controversial. The pulling down of statues like Edward Colston's was condemned by the UK government, whilst the England football team's decision to take the knee at the European Championship was met by boos by a significant portion of England fans. At the heart of the movement is protesting police brutality and racist and discriminatory treatment of black and Asian communities at the hands of police. 15 months on, have police forces changed as a result of Black Lives Matter? Do they need to change? And how do black and Asian communities feel about their police forces? Lee Jasper is an anti-racism campaigner and vice chair of Black and Asian Laws for Justice. He was also deputy mayor for London with responsibility for policing under Ken Livingstone. Jasper believes police forces across the UK have a deep and entrenched issue with racism.
But what they need to do is they need to accept the reality of institutionalised racism. You can't cure an illness that has been misdiagnosed.
I wanted to find out what the reality was in my local police force of South Wales Police. South Wales Police covers Cardiff, Swansea and much of the valleys. It boasts some of the most diverse areas of the UK, Cardiff's Grangetown and Butetown wards. It was Butetown that was the heart of South Wales Police's darkest hour of race relations. Now, a death in police custody in Cardiff Bay sparked a new debate about the way South Wales Police treats its black and Asian citizens. On the 8th of January, Mohammed Hassan was arrested on suspicion of breaching the peace. He was released without charge the next day and died during the night. His post-mortem was inconclusive, while 6 South Wales police officers are under investigation by the Independent Office for Police Conduct. Mr Hassan's death led to protests outside Cardiff Bay Police Station, just down the road from the flat where Lynette White was murdered in 1988.
Release the war! 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 Release the war!
Campaigners and Mr Hassan's family have appealed for answers about how Mahmoud died.
All along, we've been fighting with the South Wales Police and the Independent Office of Police Complaints to get at the truth of what actually happened to Mahmoud. And we're still not clear yet. And they have the last footage of your loved one's life, what happened to him in their final hours. And you're not allowed to see that. I mean, it should be a fundamental human right that these police body cam videos are made available to the victim's family.
Lee Jasper believes Hassan's death is part of a trend of black people dying in police custody.
Well, it's part of an historical experience of black communities, isn't it? That we simply have these contentious deaths in custody where people have a reasonable suspicion that there was foul play involved, massive police violence, disproportionate police violence that can lead to death. And here is a case of Mohammed Hassan that proves just that point. But even up until this present day, people like Mohammed Hassan and many others continue to receive the kind of third-class, second-rate policing that has come to characterise South Wales Police.
South Wales Police declined to be interviewed, but have provided this comment. We can only imagine the pain and grief the family of Mahmoud Hassan are enduring since their tragic death. The force continues to fully cooperate with the IOPC investigation into the death of Mahmoud Hassan in January this year, and has provided them with information and material, including CCTV footage and body-worn video. We acknowledge the impact Mr Hassan's death has had on his family, friends, and the wider community. Our thoughts and condolences continue to be with them. The IOPC declined to be interviewed for this story. Mr Hassan's death is not the only one that has led to allegations of racism being levelled against South Wales Police. Christopher Capessa was a 13-year-old boy who was pushed into the River Kinnon and drowned whilst playing with friends in July 2019. South Wales Police initially didn't treat his death as suspicious, believing it was an accident.
The Crown Prosecution Service and the police just completely dismissed there was any foul play involved in his murder. And just like the Stephen Lawrence case, if you don't really investigate a murder within the first 48 hours, then you miss the opportunity to gather vital forensic evidence that could assist your case.
After a second investigation found that Christopher had been pushed into the river, the Crown Prosecution Service said it wasn't in the public interest to charge the boy who had pushed Christopher.
Well, I'm sorry, but Christopher Capassa was of good character, and he deserves to receive justice. And it's a scandal Welsh police have not successfully brought a prosecution against those who are responsible for Christopher's death.
Christopher's mother, Alina Joseph, said that she believes that had Christopher been white and his friends black, the police investigation would have been different, and the CPS would have decided it was in the public interest to prosecute. Christopher's family won permission in June to seek a judicial review into the CPS's decision.
Well, it's simply part of an aspect of institutionalised racism is a culture of disbelief. And that cultural disbelief means you don't believe black people, whatever they're saying to you, whether they're denying being involved in a crime, you don't believe that. And where they suggest that there was foul play in relation to the death of a loved one or a family member, they don't believe that either. This culture of disbelief permeates every aspect of policing.
The CPS declined to be interviewed for this story. South Wales Police said, "We can only imagine the pain and grief the family of Christopher Capassa are enduring since their tragic death. Following Christopher's death in 2019, South Wales Police referred the police investigation to the Independent Office for Police Conduct, who continued to examine our response and subsequent investigation into the tragic circumstances. We are absolutely committed to implementing any opportunities for learning." I asked John Actie how he felt watching people like Alina Joseph calling for justice from South Wales Police and the CPS.
It's horrible. When I see these people on the telly, I can see it in their eyes because I know what it feels like. Do you know what I mean? I know what it's like. It's not nice to see these people suffering, want justice, but they can't get justice because the police force and the CPS won't give it to them.
John Actie is one of the Cardiff Five, wrongly accused of murdering Lynette White in 1988. Their story will be told in a BBC Wales TV documentary later this month, having already been the subject of the BBC Sounds Shreds Murder in the Dock podcast. Actie hopes it will show a new audience what he went through.
I just want the people to realise, what happened to us was a wicked, wicked thing, and what South Wales Police done and got away with it was beyond.
It may have happened decades ago, but Actie believes it still affects how black people, and particularly those in Butte Town, view South Wales Police.
They haven't got no confidence in the police. After they've seen what happened to us, how they fitted us up, people ain't got no confidence in the police. They think, yeah, they're good.
Does John think South Wales Police have changed in the decade since he was arrested?
I believe South Wales Police are trying their best to change, but it's a long, long road for them to change.
Actie and Jasper have different views on the chance of Black Lives Matter solving the issues they see within South Wales Police and other forces.
It's just help for the people who needs it at the time, but as far as anything happening in the long run, we're not going to have a say.
Whilst Black Lives Matter has not made an impact on policing as of yet, I think inevitably, as we've seen in the United States, it has the potential to radically transform policing.
If change is possible but hasn't happened yet, what needs to happen? For John, the key is rooting out the bad cops in police forces.
Like I said, there's good policemen out there who wants to do their job, and there's loads and loads of good policemen out there who wants to do their job. But there's also loads and loads of bad policemen out there. We're not doing their job.
For Jasper, public will is needed.
And the people of Wales need to decide what kind of policing that they want. Are they content for a police service where racism and institutionalised racism continues to thrive and blight the lives of black and Asian people living in Wales?
But in the meantime, he has no faith in South Wales Police Chief Constable Jeremy Vaughan.
Well, I think the Chief Constable's got to go. I don't think he inspires any confidence. We need a new Chief Constable who accepts the reality of institutionalised racism, and we need a Police Crime Commissioner who's going to stand up and say institutionalised racism in South Wales Police is a real issue.
South Wales Police say, "We're proud to police a modern, multicultural region. We've made and continue to make significant investments in training and education to ensure officers and staff understand topics such as Black Lives Matter, white privilege, and disproportionality. Making South Wales Police more representative of the communities we serve has been a priority since 2015. Whilst we have made progress during this time, we accept that we still have work to do, but we are moving in the right direction." Thank you for listening. Seb Bench, CGS News.